have another question? Who's got the microphones?
Oh. Hi. It doesn't seem to me like Scientology has that many distinguishing features, unfortunately. From a philosophical point of view, Buddhism seems to also not have a deity, but more like a messiah figure. And obviously from the harm point of view, Mormons and Hasidic Jews seem to also employ some of the techniques that you were talking about in terms of making people be cut off from everybody who leaves their religion and such. Does it ever occur to you that maybe instead of trying to assert that Scientology is definitely not a religion, we should just strip all religions from all the benefits and exemptions that we give them as a society and just treat them as an organization should be treated?
So treat all religions the same.
Tax them all.
Tax them all. I'm an atheist, so I find it very... But I don't want to go around telling people what they should or shouldn't believe. I mean, I'd love to, but I won't. And I think if you can name any religion, as John mentioned a few earlier, which have good and bad parts to them. And if societies, countries, authorities are trying their best to weed out the bad bits constantly, because I know these, humans are humans, humans are weak, humans do bad things. So the bad bits of all these religions are constantly happening and constantly regenerating on different scales. And as long as they're being monitored and people are trying to ensure that these religions are pure, it's possibly the wrong word, but doing things properly, then, and if a country decides that religions should be exempt from tax on that basis, then it's not for me to say that they shouldn't be, especially if they can prove that the money they have is being used in the right way. But you look at something like Catholicism as a pyramid from the very top down. The bad parts are very small parts, really, relative to the size of the whole thing. And I'm not belittling any of the suffering anyone went through, but what I'm simply saying is that it's not the entire thing. It's not like it's imposed from above and filters down through the whole organization. Scientology, to me, is that. It's rotten from the top down, all the way through. And if another religion is shown to be rotten in the same way, then I would say it should not have any kind of benefits whatsoever, and the law enforcement authorities, tax authorities, whatever kind of authorities you've got, should be looking at it very closely and getting very busy with speaking to people who've been through bad things. So for that reason, I think Scientology is different to other religions, and I think we have to respect people's rights to believe in what they believe in, and I would respect people's rights to believe in Scientology in any way they want. But when it comes to the suffering that the organization imposes on other people who don't ask for it, who are conned and hoodwinked into getting involved in something, then that's not something that you can treat, I think, the same way as a rotten part, small part of a bigger religion, when the rest of it is actually a positive force for good in the world. And I say that as an atheist. So.
Alex Gibney asked me something somewhat similar to that in the film, Going Clear, because that's one of the first things that comes up is, don't all religions have strange beliefs? Don't they all have questionable practices? And I told him that for me, what makes Scientology so interesting and worth paying attention to is that some of these other organizations, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they can explain what they believe in a minute or two. And although there's clearly a lot more to learn if you decide to become a Christian for 30 years, that essential belief of what brings people together never really changes. Scientology is nothing like that. They tell you at the beginning that it's a self-help philosophy that's going to help you with your communication. 7 or 8 years later, you're paying $700 or $800 an hour to remove invisible alien souls from your body. And they would never tell you that up front. And that's the problem I have with it, is it's so It's so deceptive about what it does. John told you earlier about OT3, which gets all the attention. It's so unfair that Xenu gets so much attention. I like OT4. Okay, once you're done with OT3, these operating thetan levels cost anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000 each. OT4, on OT3, you learn that you have all these invisible alien souls attached to you, left over from the Xenu genocide 75 million years ago, and you drive them away with the E-meter. Great, I'm free. OT4, you find out there's a whole nother set of them, and they're junkies. And so you literally have to put them through rehab. And L. Ron Hubbard writes that the pre-OT is going to tell you, but I don't abuse drugs. I've never done any of the... It doesn't matter. Your BTs are a bunch of junkies. Not only were they heavy users, but they were using some kind of space coke that we haven't even invented yet in some other galaxy. And you've got to literally dry them out one by one, hundreds and thousands, for hundreds of dollars an hour. This is why I find Scientology so fascinating.